Everybody, just getting started here. Hi guys, I'm just getting set up. Give me 1 second. I was all set up and then I pushed the button and I got unset up again. Just 1 second, guys. Hey, son. What's up, son? That's fine with me, bud. All right. We're hearing all the details here. Phone calls from the family, me trying to get things set up the way I like them. It's all something crazy going on here. That knee board isn't quite how I would want it, but I can deal with it. And we've got the chat over here. Hey Chaz. It looks like everything adjusted on me when I took the headset off. Unfortunately. Let me see if I can get things to be just how I want them. Hold on. It's the only thing with the VR is it tends to move things around a little bit. I want that like that. I want that. Hey Rob, good to see you. Let's see if it'll let me get back. Come on, let me get back. Oh, Oculus. How you drive me insane sometimes. Let me count the ways. Come on, baby. There we go. All right, things seem to finally be set. Mr. X-Plane, good to see you. Hi, Chaz. No, I'm using my headset. Today I'm going to be practicing cross-country that I'll be doing in the real world. I'll be supposedly flying this tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to happen. The main 25-7 runway here at Albert Whitted is closed for the St. Pete Grand Prix. And unfortunately that means that I'm going to probably have too much of a crosswind component for where I want to fly and how I want to fly. So we're going to have to deal with that tomorrow, but I'm going to practice it today anyway, just in case, and then at least I've got it under my belt. We are pushing the limits of the X-Plane system here with running VR and running a decent airplane and running a complicated custom airstrip with a lot of textures and running the chat and a lot of other stuff. So I'll give you the brief in case anyone wants to follow along. We're going to start off at Albert Whitted. We're going to fly out over to St. Pete Beach. Then we're going to fly along the coast, staying out of the 1,200-foot Bravo Shelf, down along Edgemont Key, Anna Maria Island. Then we're going to climb up to 4,500 feet and go over the top of the Sarasota Charlie airspace over the top of Venice at 4,500 feet, because that can be a dangerous place. Lots of traffic through there. Then when we are getting close here to Fort Myers, about the time that we are at Coral Creek, we'll start our descent. We need to be ready to slip underneath the Fort Myers Charlie here at about 1,000 feet. We'll do a full stop landing at Fort Myers, and we'll ask for a north departure from virtual, not real air traffic control. Fly due north past Punta Gorda to Arcadia. I designed an airport for Arcadia over the past couple days that I'll upload to the gateway because it was only 2D. It should be in the sim. Then we'll head off on actually V97. We can also fly the VOR radial out of LaBelle if we want. Past Sarasota on the other side, taking careful to miss what is called around here the Needle of Death, which is that 1,800-foot unlit tower that could cause you a problem. Up to Ruskin, and then from Ruskin we'll fly out over the bay at 1,000 feet and then come in and land at Albert Whitted again. Should be about 2.5 hours. I plan to do the whole thing under the hood here in the virtual reality. I'm running world traffic, so we have world traffic running here, which I think is good. It makes it a little more realistic. And we'll have traffic coming and going, and you can see traffic here on the iPad from the world traffic traffic system, depending on where I put my headset. Guten Abend. Yeah, good to see you again, Patrick. Thank you for tuning in. I just need to slip the plug for my headset underneath a cord here. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. So without any further ado, we'll get things started up here, and hopefully the iPad lasts long enough. I think it will. And we will begin our flight. So, get the controller, and I'm just going to go through the normal pre-flight here. Things are generally pointed in the right direction. I feel like I'm a little left of center on the airplane, but it looks like it's about right. That's right where it's supposed to be. I can reach all of these things. Also, of note on this flight, the folks at GTN were nice enough to send me a complimentary version of the 530 Garmin plug-in. So I've modified the panel here so it will be on the screen, and it's a bit more realistic. So that's what we'll be doing. Frame rates here are a bit tough. This is version 6. I find it works better than version 5 and version 4. And given all the stuff I have going, streaming, OBS, the mirroring software, you know, bringing the iPad into the cockpit, the chat over there and all this stuff, there's a lot going on. I'm mindful that people don't like the virtual reality all the time. I'm going to be careful to not move my head around too much. We are in the Piper Warrior. I didn't load the Archer, even though that's the airplane I fly in real world, because I want to practice using the 530. I've got a 430 in the Archer that I fly in the real world, and I'll be expected to know it for the check ride, so I'm trying to use something that's close to that. Super sampling is 1.6. You can't tell that because you're looking off the mirror, but it looks pretty realistic here from where I am. And we're off to the races, 2:14. It's time to get started. So, presuming I've done my pre-flight, get the mixture in. I'm going to be using the real throttle with the physical controls today. 1/4 inch. Master. Fuel pump. Got our lights on. Feet on the brakes. And I'll fix the directional gyro in a second. The buck kicker is working, I can tell you that. I can feel it. Let me know how the volume is, if you guys can hear me okay versus the sim. Let me turn this down. I did it in the real world. Now I'm doing it practice virtually, like, because it's gonna be my solo jazz. Let me know how you guys can hear me. Okay. Yeah. Squawk out. 1200. Let's enter our flight plan. See, I've got that here. So KSPG. To Kurug. Oh, there we go. Okay, is it easy to see the Garmin? I can see it pretty well. Yeah, the window changes, the sound changes when that's open or not. It's kind of funny. Okay, next intercept is Coasty. Getting a little better at this thing. It's still a little touchy. They could make it just a little less responsive. Costy. Okay, it doesn't have that. Not that I can see, not in my database. Let's say no. And just go to the next one. The next one is going to be Venice. Venice. Then we're going to go FMY. Page. And then from page up to X06. Boy, I'm touchy today on the controllers. Arcadia. And then to VP059, hopefully it'll have that. There, see, world traffic, we're running world traffic. There goes the Cessna on approach here, landing on 07. That's pretty cool. Okay, VP059. Doesn't look like it has that either. Ruskin, okay, well, we'll just deal with it. And let's just go back to St. Pete if that's the case. Sorry, I can't look at the chat right now. I'm trying to get this done. Okay. All right. So we've got the plan loaded. Good. Okay, let's see what this is going on here. I saved flight, replaying it, and oh, cool. No, I'm up and running, Chaz. I can't make it go. How do I use the controller in the physical yoke? I just have a physical yoke in front of me, and I fly with my left hand. That's how I will fly in the real world. Flying in the real world is usually a one-handed affair. Okay. Our ATIS is 118.875, although I should know that.
Albert Whitted information Romeo. 1800 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 4, dew point -35.
Wind calm.
Altimeter 2992.
I believe that's correct.
Arriving runway 36, departing runway 36. Advise on initial contact you have Romeo.
I just want to make sure we are actually running real world weather here. Let's make sure. Nope. Must have started loading Xenviro to start. Gives me a chance to read this. Kitty, yep. Altimeter 29.9. Yeah, how did it know? Okay. Now altimeter is going to be 3010.
Albert Whitted information Romeo. 1800 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 4, dew point -35. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runway 36, departing runway 36. Advise on initial contact.
Try
Albert Whitted information
ground
Romeo.
here.
1800 Zulu weather. Wind 0408, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 21, dew point 1. Altimeter 3011.
There we go.
Arriving runway 36, departing runway 36.
Okay, 36.
Advise on initial contact you have Romeo.
Okay, we're good there. Everything's good. We're flashing. Control check. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. We parked through the middle of that fence. Sometimes that happens. I can't turn around enough to see my ailerons because my back is sore. But, or my elevator and rudder, but it seems like it's going. Okay, this airplane went and parked right in front of us. I'm not quite sure why, but we'll just taxi through it. So we would call ground. We'd say, what a ground. Cherokee 82746 is, got the numbers. We'd like to run up at the Rose and then VFR departure to west. And they'd tell us to taxi via Alpha to the compass Rose and then via Bravo to 36. Carmelie, that's a good question. I'd ask you to go to my website on theglideslope.net. I just wrote a relatively long article about how I think about the difference between them. I think it depends on what you're trying to do, whether or not one's better than the other. Let's not break that airplane. There we go. And keep our eye open for other taxiing aircraft. Looks like somebody's coming in on final. Looking at this. Somebody just took off. Oh yeah, I can see him. He's right down there. Okay. Well, I don't know why I just switched tanks on me. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's for practicing VFR flights. I very much prefer I actually prefer the virtual reality. There's the arriving traffic. Pretty cool. Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to do this flight tomorrow, but I'm highly doubtful. I already got a note from my instructor saying, you know, I don't know that that would be the best thing to do. I was like, okay, I get the point. Yeah, no problem. Chaz, do whatever makes you happy, man. I think it'd be great to have you do it in 3D. Plenty of thunder to go around. 3-6, huh? What was the wind again?
Albert Whitted information Romeo. 1800 Zulu weather. Wind 040 at 8.
Yep.
Visibility more than 10.
3-6.
Sky clear.
Okay, we're coming up to the compass rose here where we'll do our run up. Usually we point right at the tower. For some reason, the CSL models don't have spinning props, and I haven't been able to figure out why. Ruins the illusion. Okay. 2,000 RPM. Magnetos. Carb heat. Everything's green. Full gas. There goes departing traffic. I don't know why they're departing there when the wind is from the north, but I'll have to edit the airport file to fix that. Okay. Tower's 127.4. We'll be ready to go with that. No pilot edge air traffic control today, but that's okay. We tell them that we're done at the Rose and we're ready to taxi to 36. They'd say taxi 36 via Alpha Bravo. We'd say, okay. Hello from the Netherlands. So all told, it's holding the frames together pretty well. I haven't turned on AWS. I turned off Fly with Lua because some guys were saying they had better results without it. We're holding on all sold. Given how much stuff we're running, that we're in the middle of a big city, I can actually see the Tampa skyline over there. Visibility is awfully good. This airport has a bunch of high memory usage textures. It's a frame killer. I'm modifying it to make it a little softer on the mesh on the rig. Taxiing to hold, thanks, you too. And that giant tower that, you know, says NAPS, which is the guy who designed the scenery, that doesn't exist in the real world. So whatever. I guess that's his signature. Boy, it's interesting how much rougher the rough taxiway feels on my butt kicker. How's the audio? Can you guys give me an audio check? What version of Steam VR? I'm not using Steam VR. The new X-Plane Chaz doesn't require it. So there's no, I'm not running, I'm going straight through Oculus. Yeah, I'm mostly interested in how the quality of the audio is versus the engine. Sometimes the motor is way too loud in this. Okay, 3.6, and we have to get over the crane, so we gotta probably configure for a short field takeoff here. Takeoff over obstacle is what we will do. I can read that really well with 1.6 though. It seems like it's not quite as blurry in the textures now as it used to be. Things are a bit easier to read. Switch over to tower. Wooded Tower, Archery 2746, holding short 36, ready for takeoff via far west. They would say, let's take a look at the traffic. So we're okay. It's a ready for takeoff, on course turn approved. Ready for takeoff. Final check controls. We're going to configure. So 2 notches of flaps. We're going to go for a short field here, which means we're going to rotate at 64, 65, climb at about it until we are high over those cranes. Like this stuff in the VR is just much more realistic. Okay, let's just check, get our directional gyros set here. Okay. Perfect audio mix, great. Let's see if it gets louder here. Fuel pump landing light, come on. So we don't have a checklist that we can see here. Okay. That's a bit louder there. Let's see how it is. Rotation speed, climbing ground effect. Right, up. Best climb speed is 64. We are up, up, up. Getting over these cranes. 5x5, good, thanks. Okay, we have cleared the cranes. We'll keep going here for a minute. It's windy up here. Okay, now we can go to best climb speed. 74. 700 feet, we can make our turn. We're going to hold it at 1,000 feet so we don't run into any Airbuses coming over to St. Pete International. Bumpy today. Okay, good. That sounds good. I'm running non-HDR to get a few extra frames. And I'm just running 1 notch of anti-aliasing. Okay, St. Pete International Airport is right down there. We want to be past its departing. And it looks like the traffic is, oh no, traffic's showing up. There it is, I can see it. Cool. Let's see if we can change the view. Yeah, there's traffic. Look at that. Awesome. Flaps. Thanks, bro. So here's the one limitation that's a real limitation of VR is not having the checklist in front of you. Because I find that just the presence of the checklist makes you take your process and your procedures a bit more seriously. Okay. Past St. Pete, start climbing up now. Flaps is right. So Chaz, are you watching this how are you watching this right now? Yes, it's the Garmin add-on, and I got it to show by when you have world traffic, there's an airplane. We have to stay under 23,000 here because of the Bravo shelf, but we can go up to 25. When you are over that golf course, there is one of our bailout spots if we have trouble. One of the aircraft that you can have as an option, if you go to add AI traffic, if you list all available ones, is world traffic, and it will take however many AI planes you put on your AI menu, it'll add them and hold on to them as traffic. So I think I have 10 bogies listed, and so it takes, I think, the 10 bogies closest to you. Left turn to 162 now. Okay, well, I want to get out over the water first. I picked the closest possible waypoint, but we want to go a little higher. And that means we have to avoid the Bravo shelf, which is right there. So we'll just hold here for a second. Some forward elevator pressure trim there. Right here, another 28, that's good. Watching it flat on my iPad, that's good. World traffic is a add-on that puts traffic into your, that's the Don Cesar Hotel right there. It's a bad example of it, but that is sort of the waypoint for going into Albuquerque, and you tell them you're over the Don Cesar Hotel. World traffic is an add-on that allows you to have traffic in X-plane. And you can tell it your departure airport. You can tell it your arrival airport. We're out in Bravo now. Now we're going to just go up to 4,500 feet. Yeah, they're on ForeFlight also, which is pretty cool. Now I don't know if it continues to reload them, or if it just loads them from where you started. Because, you know, I noticed those are all up there. So I'm not quite sure what its algorithm is for doing that. But okay, well, the real water here is much prettier than this. But, you know, I'll take it. And it's flat out here today. And not a lot of clouds. I can see my glide distance there in ForeFlight. We're just going up to 4,500 feet here to get over the Bravo. Looking green. Can lean the aircraft just a little bit. Landing lights off. Keep the fuel pump on until we're up all the way. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I had to do some editing. Oh, there's a question about the GTN. That Garmin is the GTN 530 from Reality XP. And it was a courtesy they gave to me. I had bought the 750 and was using it and shot a little video. And as a thank you, they said, hey, we'd like you to have a version of the others. And I said, that would be awesome. So they were nice enough to do that for me. Mic audio is low compared to engine noise. That's what I was wondering. Let me fix that. 1 second. Yeah. So I can hear the mix. So 1 second. I'll fix that. Let me hear it so it's more. How we're going to fix that. We are going to fix that right now. Sound, let's crank that down to like there, and environmental down to like there. Done. Resume flight. Yeah, that should be better. I hope that's better. Thanks, Chaz. It's my pleasure. While we were messing with that, we blew through our altitude. If somebody could let me know how that is on the audio, that would be great. I can turn it down even further if I need to. I have different mixer here for what goes into my headset, so I'm not quite sure what you guys hear. We can see our glide ring there. We would just make it over to Emily Island if we needed to from here. But it sounded realistic. Yeah, well, the problem is that with the headsets on, it's not that loud in the airplane, you know? You don't hear you can hear it sounds more like what I'm hearing now, at least in my own headset. Let's get to our proper altitude. I'm not doing a very good job of flying this by the book, so that ends now. Fuel pump off. That's our cruise checklist. We still have our lights on. Our nav lights, beacon light. Emily Island coming up on the left. Now there's a little cutout over here. This is a much lower shelf, 1,200 feet for the Bravo, so we can't wander over there. How much is world traffic? I'm not quite sure. I think it was 30 or 40 bucks. I mean, well worth it. You load it into a big airport like Salt Lake City, and there's airplanes all over the place. And you can load the table for what is the real world flight schedule. And so airplanes, you know, are where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. Okay, 2,300 RPM. About where we would run. 23, 24. Let's get ourselves leveled off. Yeah, I think I want a little more engine noise than that. And I'm in a Warrior too, and not an Archer, so I'm not getting as much performance. So we might run her just a little faster, so we're not up here all day. Now we can just fly down the coast once we're past this little window. I don't want to go at 90 knots, that's for sure. We have a fuse punch there. Which one is it? Lights. Overhead lights are punched. There we go. Whoa! And when there's no G-forces, you can't tell when the airplane is turning when you're looking underneath the dash. All right, there we go. Emily Island. In the real world, those turquoise colors extend out quite a bit here. It's quite pretty. Hello, Viniclus. Oh, Madness, good job. Yeah, that's true. Chaz, that's true. Okay. Let's go direct Venice. I want to go direct Venice. There we go. I don't know. I don't even know what the sub button on Twitch does, to be honest. I mean, I appreciate your support just by you guys watching. You know, this has been a hobby and a labor of love, and oh, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the reflection of the panel in the window there. So I appreciate the offer of support, but I don't really know. You know, I certainly don't need anybody to be donating money to the channel. It's my hobby, and I'm happy to support it on my own. Now, if we're flying VFR, we just follow the coast down here. We've got Sarasota coming up on this side, including the airport. Now, it would have traffic here, but yeah, we've got some traffic coming and going. You can see the bogies there. All right, we're settled into cruise. Venice, we're just going to go over the top of. We're not going to land there. We're going to go way over the top because it is nutty in terms of how many airplanes come and go out of there in the real world. Okay, so this is sort of what it's like. Nice, stable aircraft. That's funny. In case the sun's getting in your eyes. Flying along at 4,500 feet, we've got the coast down there. We could stick our camera out and take pictures. All right, we were off at about 420, 425. So in terms of switching tanks, we're about 20 minutes in. How was your flight, Madness? Good, I hope. Don't forget to lock the door. I had a real-world flight where I forgot to lock the door. I took off and immediately could tell the plane was kind of performing differently. And it was a Warrior sort of like this. And I was about 200 feet in the pattern, just taking off, and I was like, well, this doesn't feel right. And I could tell from the noise. I looked over, and there was a seam here of about a ½ inch. So I did what I had learned I should do. I just flew around and landed the airplane again. Whatever you do, you don't try to open the door. Yeah, it'd be nice to have, we've got this thing here, the somewhat useful but not really iPad. We'll put it on the back seat. Okay, we're over the top of Sarasota Airport. And there's Charlie. It's coming up here just off to the left side. In terms of traffic, a lot of traffic beneath us. We've got something 22,000 feet above us off to the side there. Can't see it. Just keep going down the coast. So the big news today, you know, Brian, I just did a flight in VR6 and the clouds worked great. It didn't hurt me too bad from a performance standpoint, and they looked awesome. So, you know, some of the new code, I think, makes it a little more cloud friendly. So this is Warrior. This is the dust flight. Is much more stable. Feels much more like the real thing. Venice. Let's see. Venice. AWAS 119.275. Let's just check Sarasota. Let's see what their METAR is. 124.375. Not picking it up. .3006. There we go. Once again, not being, although I just got a case of the swims from that turn. All right, so there's no meter there. Not picking it up, that's fine. Go back to Venice. Is 112.725. .122.725. So the big news today in the X-plane world is Orbix has come to X-plane. Good, Mark. I'm glad you were able to fix it. Yeah, so if you haven't seen the news, today Orbix released Meigs Field and Greater Chicago for X-plane. The screenshots look good. Boy, look at that. That looks awesome. Except for the trees on the beach, but that's a problem with the underlying mesh. It looks really, really nice. You know, Orbix airports are great. It's great as the developers are who develop for X-plane. More competition, I think, is better, and can't hurt to have more guys developing good airports for our platform. And Orbix is the heavy hitter when it comes to that, that's for sure. Okay, this traffic up here, Venice is no factor, 3,800 feet above us. Got a little bumps coming up here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Airplane's starting to move around just a little bit. That's good. Venice. Is right up here. It's a neat airport. We're alongside this little finger thing of lakes, and then Venice Airport is right there, and we're going to go right over the top of it. It's very busy. It's got a decent little restaurant. People like to fly in and out of there. It's got a cool approach right over the water. It's sort of a chaotic place. I flew in and out of there once. It's cool, it's fun, but on a busy day it's nuts, and people flying straight in approaches that aren't on instrument plans, and it's just crazy. So my strategy is to generally go far over the top where nobody can whack me. Yeah, Orbix, I mean, really, it's a good thing. My level of detail distance doesn't look real great. I don't know if when I turned off Fly with Lua and the 3J FPS plug-in, if that changed that, but I usually see buildings and stuff farther out than that. But at the same time, in the real world, I probably wouldn't see them very far away because we are at 4,500 feet. 100 knots. Let's see if we can eke a little more speed out of her without redlining it. Hey, Colin. This reel or sim just started. This is the sim. I'm on virtual reality right now. I wouldn't be broadcasting from real life, that's for sure. Yeah, so we got some winds up here now. See what our ground speed is. 125, that's good. It's pushing us from behind. That means we're going to be slow coming back. But we're coming back on a slightly different trajectory. We'll be coming back over there. You can see your old house. Yeah, Rob, I think that's it right there, isn't it? The one with the party flag out front. So I experimented with, I wanted to see how far out in making ortho photos, ortho scenery. I wanted to see how far out you could go with making, my chair here a little bit, so it's more where the real chair is. There we go. One thing that's cool about this is the real chair is like, so I can set that on the chair, and it actually sits there on the chair. Now we can see Venice down there pretty well. We're going to fly right over the top of that. The ortho scenery, you can see there it has a mask where it transitions from having the orthography, the orthographic imagery for the shoreline out to the ocean. Eventually it transitions it to be relatively ugly looking X-plane water. So I tried with some scenery in the Bahamas. I wanted to see how far out you could extend it. It is a default of 13 in the Orbix, or in the Ortho 4XP scenery compiler in the program, and one digit is roughly, I believe is equal to a meter, so 16 meters or 39 feet, give or take. So I wanted to see how far it could go in the interest of having prettier ocean textures around the shorelines. And so I tested that this morning, and the answer is 512, or about 1,500 feet, 512 meters. I did that around the Bahamas, and it gave me really beautiful textures around the islands. I tried it here, and it was horrible because it's just offshore that the ortho imagery on Bing stops. And so it didn't look great, so I went back to the default. Usually there's a nice kind of turquoise or green boundary along the shoreline here in this part of Florida. Okay, so we're making our way. Hello, father, son. Good to see you guys. How's the schooling of the old man going? Our new desired track 151. Yeah, so now what we do is we make our turn, and we're flying kind of right at that edge of that peninsula. And then that takes us over, if we're looking at the chart. And it's about the time we're on the other side of the water there that we're going to want to start making our way to a lower altitude. We'll drop down to 3,500 here in a little bit, just so we're at a proper east-headed odd altitude. But we wanted to be at 4,500 to get over the top of our friends at Venice. And there's Venice right below us. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Airplane wants to keep climbing up to 4,600 feet. I'm not quite sure why. Go. Tried recording something saying the audio didn't capture. I had the same problem. I had to learn that in OBS on the audio settings there's one setting for what the speaker input is, and there's one setting for what the microphone input is. You might have had the wrong one. Okay, There's another little airport down here. If we're looking at Glide Advisor here, you can see the effect of the tailwind and that our glide ring is not proportional around us. Eventually up here we'll be able to get to Coral Creek, but not quite yet. There's a little turf field down there below us that we could get to if we needed to. Yeah, it's, sorry, yeah, let me go in order here. Munner, no problem. I'm flying the Just Flight Piper Warrior rather than the Archer. I'm practicing a real-world cross-country flight that I'm theoretically supposed to make tomorrow, but don't believe I'll be able to because of the winds that we're going to have here in Florida. But I want to practice it today just in case. I've flown it once with the instructor. I just want to fly it again. And yeah, it's not a crosswind. It's just a pretty good wind up here. I'm doing a ground speed of 122 knots on a true airspeed of 100. So we've got about a 20 knot tailwind, which is moving the airplane around a bit. That'd be cool. Father, son, you should do that. Try to do a stall. Power stall. Okay. All right. Power on stall coming up. Let's configure first. Where are we going to go? 4,500 feet? Yeah, let's go fuel pump on. I did turn off the master when I did that. Okay, fuel pump on. Got a 2,000 feet, or 2,000 RPM. Hold all altitude, back trim, 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 trim. Slowing down. Power on stall coming up. All right. No, don't look at the chat. How's our airspeed doing? Doing pretty good. We're down at 1,500. We're slowing down now. It's getting mushy. With this tailwind, it's a bit different. A little more power than that. Watch our altimeter come down. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Okay, now we're down to rotation speed. We keep pulling back. Apply pressure. There we go, fully developed. Let her accelerate. Positive rate of climb. There we go. There's our power on stall. That actually was pretty realistic in terms of how the airplane felt. I have a feeling the aerodynamics on this Just Flight are really quite good. It got mushy when it should have gotten mushy. Airplane got quiet. The aerodynamics got quiet. One of the signs that you're about to stall is the airplane gets quiet. Uh-oh. Loading new scenery. I gotta retrim the airplane. We're obviously loading a new tile. Okay, where are we? Okay, we're about 30 minutes in the air. Let's switch tanks while we have the fuel pump on. Positive fuel pressure. Yep. Fuel pump off, and let's start the timer. Okay. Stall spin, no thank you. Do you know if Pilot Edge works in VR? Yeah, it works fine. Pilot Edge works great. I fly in Pilot Edge in VR all the time. Stop redlining the airplane here. There we go. We got a little off our angle, but I can see where we're going. Oh, look at that big circular development down there. That's cool. Why did it just switch over to the left tank? Stop it. To the right tank. I don't know why. That's right there. Rotunda. It's on the chart and everything. All right, well, we're a little off our angle, but we'll get back to it here. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's nice to do those things virtually, not realistically. Okay, now that we're done with our stall stuff, we will go ahead and come down to 3,500 feet while we're at it. We've got this other airport coming up here, which is Coral Creek. We should probably start tuning in here to Fort Myers approach just to give us something to listen to is what I'll do in the real world, 125.15. I'm running super sampling here of 1.6 or 1.5, and my impression is that the latest VR6 is sharper. I don't know how they would do that, but that's my impression. Coral, there's Coral right there. Coral Springs is that airport. We can make it there now if we had a problem. Every 10 minutes, yeah, I tend to check it about every 30 when I switch tanks, but if you want me to check it every 10, I'm happy to. Let's see, we're flying a heading of 110 there. We're off just a little bit. There we go. Don't show me that again. I wouldn't get a warning in the real world now. That's freaking out the sim. Coming down to 3,500 feet. There we go. And I'm running a little faster than I normally would because I'm trying to have the same timing that I'd have in the Archer. Where are we landing? No, I'm not using with the Oculus microphone. I use my real-world headset, but I know somebody who was using the Oculus, and it sounded good. The plane's moving around quite a bit, I'll tell you that. Okay, we are coming up. We got Coral Creek just below us. There it is. And we are making our way to Fort Myers, which is right in front of us. We're going to cross over the water here and then start coming down to 1,000 feet because we want to be over, we want to be below the Charlie when we get to it. Where am I landing? Yeah, no, I'm not on Pilot Edge right now. Although you could use Pilot Edge if you wanted to do group flight, which I've done more than once. Where am I landing? I'm going to land at Fort Myers, then I'm going to turn around, I'm going to fly up to Arcadia, and I'm going to fly from Arcadia back up to St. Pete. That's the game plan. Battery's holding out well. Let's see what we got on traffic. We've got traffic coming into Fort Myers quite a bit. So we'll keep our eyes open there. Boy, that looks good. Plane's moving around quite a bit. Feels realistic. Does FOVI show your AC airplane? This is the Just Flight Warrior, and it's moving around quite a bit here. Now this is interesting because the other day when I flew this in the real world, we got down here, and as we got lower, there was some convection and a bunch of updrafts and downdrafts, and it was really a challenge keeping the airplane. It wasn't a huge challenge, but altitude required a lot of attention. We're moving around quite a bit now, as you can see. Does ForeFlight show your AC? What is AC? What do you mean by AC, Chaz? I've gotten the same message, father and son, and I've never bothered to get the answer to it, but there's a way to do it. You can sign up for a Navigraph subscription, in which case you can do it all the time. Okay. We're going to start coming down a little bit. I want to be able to get across the water with my glide before I come down. Be halfway across before we do that. And we want to be now tuned into page, to get the page ATIS, which is 123.725. Time to go to work.
Page FLD information Sierra. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind 050 at 13. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 23, dew point 1. Altimeter 3007. Arriving runway 05, departing runway 05. Advise on initial contact you have Sierra.
Do it to me one more time,
Page
boys.
FLD information Sierra. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind 050 at 13, visibility more than 10. Sky clear,
05,
temperature
050, is that what they said?
2.1. Altimeter 3007. Arriving runway 05, departing runway 05. Advise on initial contact you have Sierra. Page FLD information Sierra.
Oh.
1900 Zulu
Yeah,
weather.
the aircraft is right there.
Wind 050 at 13,
050.
visibility more than 10.
Okay.
Sky clear, temperature 23, dew point 1. Altimeter 3007. Arriving runway 05.
All right, so we're going to come in. They're going to make us do. They're going to make us do left traffic. They're going to tell us to enter left base for 05 is what they would do in real world. We can now glide across. We can start coming down to where we need to be. Yep, practice is important. That's for sure. All right, we're coming all the way down to 1,000 feet. We've got to be down underneath this Charlie airspace, which is 1,200. Be running our descent checklist, which would be fuel pump. Would not for the descent if I remember the Archer checklist correctly. It's only for the landing checklist. Got quite a wind coming. We're going to be making left base. We're 10 miles out. We'll be about just getting into Fort Myers. We'll call them. The delta ring there is probably 5 miles. Trim us for descent here. Yeah, that's yeah, 5 miles. So, yep, right when we hit Fort Myers proper, we'll call them. Keep coming down. Well, 9.0, might as well get the ground frequency dialed in while we're at it. Yeah, actually, for the automated ATIS in the real world, it often sounds like that. It's computer done. Ground is 1 to 1.7. Wait, just doesn't drop like a rock. I give it a little bit of trim. Yeah, so we've got gusty conditions. The airplane's moving all over the place. So we just have to fly it very intentionally. I can see the airport. It's right there. And again, we got to be down below the shelf of the Bravo or the Charlie before we hit the water on the other side. Can always go down a little faster if we want. Okay, we call them about now, and we'd say Page Tower Cherokee 82746 is 10 miles northwest of the field, inbound for a full stop landing. They'd say make left traffic, enter left base for 05. We'd say enter left base for 05. They'd give us the altimeter. We'd report that, and then we would be ready to go. We've already got the weather, so. Yeah, this cockpit is really well done, I have to say. It really is beautiful. And this is with like bad anti-aliasing running in my sim. So I'm a big fan. Okay, we've got some traffic. We've got one bogey coming at us, 4,000 feet above, 4,300 feet above. I can't see it. It's there on the Garmin, but it's climbing. This Garmin doesn't give a trajectory. The one I use in the airplane gives me a direction, which is helpful. Got quite a bit of traffic coming and going. So in the event, look at that, it's got two coming in right behind each other. It's not always the smartest thing in the world, but they've got traffic arriving. Look at that, bunch of traffic arriving on 05. So we'll just sequence ourselves in with them. This will be fun. All right, coming down 1,700 feet. That traffic above us. Oh, there he is. He's right there. All right, he's certainly no factor. We're going to be scud running here at 1,000 feet. Adjust myself here in the seat. Back's getting a little sore. Aero support the GTN 750. I don't know. I think you can put the 750 in anything you want if it's got space for it. Okay, so here's approaching traffic. Quite a bit of stuff going on around here. We're coming down to 1,000 feet. There's the airport. We will be out of the Charlie, which is good. And if I want to be on base, I want to come this way just a little bit. We're 1,000 feet. I gotta tell you, the engine modeling though, the sound of the engine is really, really great. See all that traffic coming in? Okay. So we're gonna come in right behind that bogey right there. I don't see anybody else coming behind him. Oh, stay out of the Charlie. Now one thing we can do here is we can go OBS and set the OBS to 050. And now we'll have a center line for that runway, which is helpful. Need lumbar support, yeah. I think it's if you want a good GA aircraft, this one is probably one of the best I've flown in X-plane. Yeah, so now you guys can see I've got, by using the OBS setting, I now have this center line. I set the OBS to, unfortunately it doesn't, with the real airplane you can turn this and it'll change. But that'll help me be where I need to be. Okay, where are we with the bogies? Okay, those guys have landed. I don't see anybody else coming. We've got traffic over here climbing. All right. Start slowing ourselves down here. He's 500 feet above us. Start getting down, looking for him. Not seeing him. Okay. Making our base. Quite a bit of traffic at the field there. 1,100 feet above us. Where is he? He should be right there. There he is. I got him. Right there. Just that from world traffic makes this a more realistic experience for sure. Okay, landing checklist. We've got mixture full, fuel pump on, landing lights are on, carb heat is off. There's our runway, there's our airport. Have I flown this in the regular cockpit? Not this route, but I've spent a lot of time flying around here. Okay, first notch. I can't reach down and pull the flaps because it's underneath me. Okay, 800 feet. 90 knots, which is about where I want to be. Slowing to 80. Yep. We'll see where we are on this glide slope here in just a second. Yeah, I need a new chair. These chairs are too upright. They hurt my back. Maybe if I put a pillow behind me. Okay, coming up on our center line. No traffic coming. We're a little low. I think we've got 1 white, 2 red. Hard to see. That freaks you out. Oh no, we're 1 right. We're right where we're supposed to be. It's a VASI, so 1 right, 1 red is just right. Configure ourselves for landing. And that's weird. I'm completely out of the throttle, and it's giving me 1700. That's not very realistic. Next notch. So I don't know why it would be doing that. Now it's got 15. Still fast, full flaps. Now it's, there we go. 70 knots, that's right where I want to be. Trim the airplane. Come on. Catch up, trim wheel. There we go. Nice stabilized approach into this headwind. Looking at the numbers. $70 knots. Power. Middle marker. Moving around quite a bit. Okay, a little high here. There we go. For whatever reason, it just switched to the right tanks on me. We have airplanes sitting on the runway. Okay, we're going to go around. You see those guys there? They had no way to taxiway to. So let's treat that like that's real. Page Tower, Cherokee 82746 is going around. Next time I'll just land right through those guys. Yeah, I was on the glide slope a little light at the last minute, but it was gusty. The plane was moving up and down. I was stabilized 70 knots the whole time, but I was one right, one white, one red. But it's a good thing we had that altitude because we had to go around once we saw those airplanes on the... Okay, first notch, back. Next notch, back. Flaps up. Okay, we're going to go around for another turn. So world traffic, if it doesn't have taxi routes on the runway that you're using, it just puts the airplanes at the end of the runway, which is what this one was doing. So they're phantom aircraft. If I have taxiways for that scenery, they will take off and go where they're supposed to go. We'll just do a loop of the pattern here so we get our landing in. Any traffic coming? Nope, not right now. How do I get the iPad to show up in VR? Using the Oculus Dash feature. And then I have screen mirrored the iPad onto the PC, and then I'm using Oculus Dash to put that where it's supposed to be as an electronic flight bag. Works pretty cool. Okay. Quite a wind working with us here. I have to increase the sensitivity of the trim wheel though. I move the physical trim wheel about 500 steps and then it trims in this. Does it work with Android? I'm not sure. Screenwriting though, that's cool. Alright, let's do this again. First notch, fuel pump, landing light, mixture, carb heat. And let's practice this time a rounded approach. Huh, look at that. Let's turn on the carb heat. Look at that interesting RPM behavior. I wonder what that's about. Oil temp is good. Everything else looks good. Next notch. Get this thing out of the way. There's a study going on at North Dakota State right now to see if the rounded pattern like military flies is safer, fewer stall spin accidents. I would believe it is. Alright, now we don't care if those airplanes are on the runway, we're going to land regardless. A little fast. we go. That's about 70 knots. Airplane is moving around a bunch. Eyes on the numbers. There's a sync. .66 over the fence, right where we want to be. Perfect. Well, just like, okay, so this is a problem. Just Flight has made a beautiful airplane, but they've got one thing really, really wrong. When you pull the throttle out, there's no ground effect, and the airplane sinks like a stone. Extremely unrealistic. Extremely unrealistic. I think I just blew tires. So it's the same thing on the Arrow, and now it's the same thing on the Cherokee. And I got to tell you, to ship an airplane that has that problem is just, I think, from a developer perspective, is irresponsible. I mean, how can you roll out of the throttle and then crash? You know, it's the same thing on the Arrow. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah, leave the power on, but that's not what you do in the real airplane. So, you know, what's the point? Let me make sure all my systems are working. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So they got to fix it. I mean, bottom line, they got to fix it. Because there isn't a GA pilot in the world that would keep the power on in ground effect. So they got to get that right, and I'm obviously upset about it. Okay, I'd tell them that I'd exit it, whatever that was, Charlie, and that we're like to taxi back and have a VFR departure to the north. Yeah, that's a silly, silly thing, and it ruins an otherwise beautiful airplane. I mean, everything about this thing flies so realistically, but you know, you got to keep the power in through the flare, and that's just not the way it would work. The only time I would put power on in the flare is if I was starting to float a little too much and I needed a little power to bring me up and around. But yeah, not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. Okay, so we switch back over to tower. We tell them that we're holding short at 05, ready to go. VFR departure north. Yeah, that's right. And everything about it isn't like a toy. I mean, it flies in the air just like it would in the normal thing. Okay, we already switched back over. So we'll reset our timer. Start it. Okay. We're ready to go. No, it's not. It's ridiculous. So they got to fix it. If they don't fix it, I'm not going to buy any more of their airplanes, that's for sure, because it's just stupid. Okay. Looks like it has one of these birds alive now, getting ready to take off. You can see it's got its beacon light on, but I'm not going to wait for that because we already went around once for those guys. Full power. Through the Phantom airplanes. There's 3 of them now. 1, 2, 3. All right, rotation speed. There's our performance takeoff. Is that my butt kicker? No, that's the sound of the airplane. It's got those rattles as one of the sounds for the airplane. Makes it very realistic. My butt kicker was making a lot of noise, but that's not what that was. Okay, for a north departure, they would tell us on course turn approved. We still got to stay below 1,000 feet though, because we've got the Charlie airspace here. That's something I'll have to remember when I do this live. Positive trim. There we go, nose forward. I didn't bother going through my checklist there because I was too pissed off. Okay, sorry for the language. My first turn approved. Okay, north we go. Time to go to our next checkpoint. And we're gonna fly about due north to get there. Yeah, the other thing about this plane is that the throttle seems really finicky. Like, you back it off and then it goes way up to 23 again. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be too realistically modeled to me either. And the real Cherokee and the real Warrior, this is the Warrior, the throttle pretty much sticks where you put it. Come on, give me the little... Okay. I've got lights on now and all kinds of stuff going on. There we go. Do page and submit it to the org. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I thought the page they've got is pretty good. Somebody did a pretty good page. I think I've got a custom page, not one from the org. Okay. All right. I've cooled off. We worked that hard to get a landing right, and then the airplane falls out of the sky at the last minute. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. Okay. Got some traffic in front of us, 1,700 feet up. Traffic coming across over here, it's only 400 feet above us. We'll keep our eyes open for them. Once we're out from the Charlie here, we can go up. We're going to go up to 2,500. We've got these towers over here on our right we have to be careful of, and then after we pass Arcadia, we have the needle of death that we need to avoid for obvious reasons. 16, okay, that's fine. Okay, we're clear of the Charlie. We can go up. 2,500. Yeah, I mean, right. I just need to go in, Chaz, and design taxi routes. It was just made without any taxi routes is the only problem. And you're right, that's not a complicated fix. I thought about doing it today, but I just didn't want to. I didn't have the time. Okay, Arcadia is our next stop. Arcadia doesn't have an ATIS. So we're going to probably listen to the Punta Gorda ATIS instead. .20 minutes en route. And our heading again is 06. Very close. When I did it in the real world, it was 07. Boy, that looks just like the real thing out there, though. That's how this part of Florida looks. For sure. Okay, we're looking for the towers. Let's get the airplane under control here. I was monitoring too many different things at once. Okay, here we are, 25. Let's go down to about 2,500 RPM for cruise. See, look, I just saw it, and then I went, it just throttled up again. There it goes. Great. Hello from Poland. Hello to you. Thank you. It's been a labor of love. I know some people are always hopeful I'm going to do a home cockpit flight, and other people are hopeful I'm going to do a VR flight. I'm going to probably alternate them. Today was a VR day. Let's see if I can get back up to 2,500. Lean the airplane a little bit. Okay, where are those towers? Can we see them? Some of them are lit. They're hard to see in the real world. And we have traffic here now just 100 feet above us. Bogey. Now even altitude, so let's look for him. See, now we're climbing again. Come on. Pick a power setting. Stay there. Let's just let the airplane fly for a second, see what happens. My panel looks good. No, I'm super sampled 1.6, Rob, and my panel looks great. Now look, I haven't touched the throttle, and it just went up to 2,700 RPM. That's not realistic either. I don't know if that's an X-plane problem or these guys. Okay, we got to be serious about this traffic here. Same altitude. Flying right by those towers. Still don't have them. But I'm going to give them a little bit of room here. We can see our wind. Yeah. You guys see him? I don't have him. We're past those towers now, though. That's good. Yeah, Rob, my panel looks quite good. So I super sampled a 1.6, and I find I get good results with that. And I don't need a lot of anti-aliasing. Clear day, no clouds. We are directly abeam that guy. Still don't see him. How far away is he? 2 miles. Not the easiest thing to see an airplane 2 miles away. Okay, back on our heading. Let's adjust our Chaz's point. Let's adjust our OBS. There we go. Our directional gyro. That just switched over to left for no reason. Not quite sure why. Didn't ask it to. Now the throttle has dropped to 2400 RPM. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on with this. It's not running rough. It's not a carb heat issue. It just seems to wander. Maybe it's my Cytec throttle. Yep, no joy. I couldn't see him either. But he's no factor now. This wind is moving us around quite a bit. It's interesting. This is very much what it was like when I flew out here a couple weeks ago. In the real world, we had to, well, we were bumping all around up here. Not huge turbulence, but lots of updrafts and lots of downdrafts. There were little clouds up about 5,000 to 6,000 feet, and they were creating some convective currents and just sort of moving us around a lot. Okay. Arcadia 123.0. And we are going to get the Punta Gorda weather before we do that. We are at Beam Punta Gorda right now. ASOS 135.675.
Punta Gorda information Sierra. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind 030 at 10 gust 18.
Oh.
Visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 24, dew point -2. Altimeter 300A. Arriving runway 04, departing runway 04.
Okay.
Advise on initial contact you have Sierra.
Windy. Arcadia, that means we're going to come in on 06. Standard traffic. 123.0.
Punta Gorda information Sierra.
Okay. About this time I'd be eating a snack in the real world. And auto switch task feature, it might. Auto switch tanks, it might. It seems to happen at weird times. I always feel like I bump something when it does it, but it may have an auto switch tanks feature. It's a good question. Mike, that would be great. I don't think we're too far away from that. They'll figure it out. I mean, if you could find a way to both just do there is a cockpit sharing program, and it allows you to have a co-pilot, and if they're running on their VR and you're running on theirs, you can do that, but of course you're sitting in different places, or at the very least on different computers. Okay. All right. So we're thinking about the little town of Arcadia now. Shell Creek is a little private strip right down there. Let's see if we can see it. Ooh, I just got dizzy. Oh, VR. You're awesome. No, it's probably just a little private field. Of course, if we needed to land someplace, we have lots and lots of options out here. Big, big fields. Yeah, Basement Kid could fly with me. We were talking about that today. He said, hey, Dad, maybe I can. He goes, oh, I guess I couldn't really put the headset on. I said, no, not yet. But, you know, the fun about Basement Fly Kid is being able to see him. He's not really that interested in this stuff. He's about basketball right now and music. And the day will soon come where he will be about girls. I think that day is soon approaching, although he's much more about playing football in the front yard with his buddies at the moment. Okay, 7 minutes. When we get to Arcadia, we are going to make a call here in a couple of miles. And standard traffic pattern, so we're going to want to, I'm not the guy to fly straight in. So I'll probably maneuver around to the west of the field and then come in to make left traffic into 05. 06. Yeah. There's another strip there, but it's a turf strip, and we're not going to be doing any soft field landings today. Ace Expert. So that's a browser. That's a Microsoft Edge browser. I pulled it in with Oculus Dash and pinned it there. Same thing with my iPad here. That is my iPad, my real-world iPad running ForeFlight, mirrored to a window on the PC, and I've grabbed the PC and brought that in using Oculus Dash. Both of those things work pretty cool. It's getting hot in the cabin here. Let's get some fresh air. Yeah, I'm glad I've got water cooling myself. Okay, we've got traffic up 21,000 feet. Don't need to worry about that. There's somebody sitting at Arcadia, probably waiting to take off. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We are getting moved around a lot. Like, being able to lean forward like this and look at that compass, this just blows my mind. These textures are awesome. Okay, the Arcadia scenery I designed, there was no scenery. I haven't put it up yet. I haven't uploaded it to the org yet. But wasn't too hard to do. Took me maybe an hour. And I did it all with default objects, so I'll upload it. Okay, how far out are we here? I can do that the old-fashioned way. 10 miles, I can look at that, and it will say I'm 10 miles. So I'd keep in mind, consider Arcadia traffic, Turkey or Archer 82746 is 10 miles due south of the field. We're going to maneuver to the west and then make a 45-degree entry for left traffic into 06 Arcadia. Yeah, this is X-plane. Yeah, we won't forget power this time. You know, I used to use custom libraries to make really custom, you know, very realistic scenery for the airport, but now I tend to design everything spooled up using default libraries, because, you know, I figure part of my mission in the community is to make it better, and so I can do that by adding no fog today. You know, this is what it's like out here today, or no haze. It is cool and just clear here in Tampa today, so this is pretty, they've got this pretty right. I like a little visibility haze, but, you know, it is what it is. It's not what it's like today. So what I do is I design in the default libraries and then upload them, and then if I want to make a custom version, I do. Yep. Yeah, easier to install, and you'd be amazed how creative you can get. I'm very, very proud of my Van Nuys. If you go to Van Nuys now in X-plane, the default airport is one that I designed, and it was nice. I actually got an email back from the X-plane guys saying, you know, really well done on this. I worked hard on it for a long time, and now I'm working on Tampa, and Tampa is getting close to done. And using the new objects, you can make some pretty amazing airports. Uh-oh. Loading tiles. Loading weather. Okay, so this is the little town of Arcadia coming up. I can see the airport actually, it's right there. It's a little hard to see in the real world, but having been here once, I sort of know what to look for. So again, we're going to maneuver to the west, and then we're going to come around and make left traffic into 06. So I'm going to start taking us down to 2,000 feet for our maneuvering section. And here again, I can go now OBS, and I can do it to 006. It already knows that that's what I want to do, and I can hit enter. And now I have a center line on my GPS for flying my pattern. Woohoo! Oh, thank you. I'm glad you've seen it. All right, it's time to get serious. Stereo cockpit. Might as well go to landing checklist. Fuel pump, landing lights, carb heat is off, mixture is full. We're now about 5 miles west-southwest. Arcadia traffic, Archer 82746 is 2,100 feet, 5 miles west-southwest, maneuvering around for a 45-degree entry left traffic into 06 Arcadia. Hold it here at 1,000 feet. Ports out there, right there. We're looking here for traffic coming off. Straight in from behind me or to my side. Nobody, that's good. Got a bogey there, 1,700 feet up. Still have one airplane sitting there, not going anyplace yet. We'll just have to make sure he's not taxiing. That's looking straight down our runway right there. I am not going to make just a random right base turn in, and I'm not going to go straight in. I'm going to fly the pattern correctly so that everybody else knows I am where I should be. Yeah, Chaz, this is the first time I've used the 530 today, and it's good. I had to do some tweaking to get it to sit. You know, what it does is it draws the screen over the screen of the other one. There's not an easy way to just install it in the airplane without it being a pop-up, but I was able to figure it out, and at least for this airplane, I can give you my settings. There's a how-to on the AvSim page for our Reality XP, and it was actually pretty straightforward. All right, let's lose our final 500 feet here. Yeah, my draw distance isn't very good in this. I'm not quite sure why. Makes me want to go back to the other settings, the 3 FPJS. Zoom feature is kind of cool. Okay, we've got that bogey now. Line up here for our 45. Here's our airport. Turf field there, going this way, and then the concrete going the other. 1,200 feet. Okay, mixture is full. Pump is on, landing line on, carb heat is off. That's looking straight down the turf there. Okay. It's got to be 60, not 06. There we go. Okay, we will now maneuver around for a 45-degree entry. Arcadia traffic, Cherokee 2746 is making for a 45-degree entry, left traffic 06. Arcadia. Coming, it is windy. Windy and gusting. There's the airport right there. No, that's the airport right there. It is hard to see, just like in the real world. Okay. Arcadia traffic 82746 is joining the downwind. All right. Yeah, I know, I see the traffic warning. Thank you. She's on the ground. It's not going anywhere. Okay. First notch. We're going to be flying this one careful, careful, because it is bumpy. And it's blowing us that way too. You can see the wind direction right there. And we're going to keep the power in all the way down. We've learned that lesson. Hold it till we're at 80. Knots. Trim for 80. Make our first turn. Base. Next notch. Gentle turn. That wind is blowing us. Almost a direct crosswind here. We're high. That's okay. We'll let the wind bring us across. Ooh. Want to sink fast? Just take the power out in this bird. Final flaps. We're going to have to side slip this baby. Terrain advisory, thank you for telling me. I can tell. Fly back to the glide slope. Now she's sinking like a stone. There we go. There it goes switching. No, it seems to switch on final for some reason. I don't know what the deal is. Is the tester. That right wing down, or left wing down. Trying to find that power spot where it doesn't just drop like a rock. Looks like we found it. Landing along, but that's okay. Yeah, so where's the... Where? Nope. See? It's not the power. Alright, well we would go around here, but I'm gonna just put it down. Yeah. This thing is dumb on landing. Dumb, 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 dumb. Just skidding all over the place. It just... You take the power out, and it goes down to... Well, see, that's one reason. The idle power on this would not be... Yeah, but see, even then, it should be 5... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll open the config file and see what the... Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's you can't tell. You can't really tell where it is. Nothing broke that time, which is good. Let's just get out of here. There's my little Arcadia that I built. Short field takeoff. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get the landings on this thing. I'll have to figure out, there's one RPM setting that's the perfect blend where it really reads like it has no power, but it doesn't fall out of the sky with like there's no ground effect. And it is about this airplane for sure. Let's see how my hedge looks that I put down there. Oh, it looks nice. Okay. Alright, well. Maybe I'll email those guys and say, hey, what do you guys think is the reasonable thing to do here, given that you seem to have a power curve for this airplane that is highly unrealistic. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to give him bad PR. I'm just calling it. It's the same thing in the Arrow. The Arrow, you know, I was flying into Aspen streaming and got over the threshold and pulled the throttle, and it just crashed. It set off the electronic warning. I mean, sirens were going off. I mean, it was just nuts. Next notch. There we go. All right. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, it is a fun little airport. You should check it out. It's not too hard to design. I haven't landed on the turf runway yet. It's turf, but then the concrete crosses the turf, so it's turf for a portion of it, which is kind of weird. Yeah. All right, next stop, St. Pete. I'd like to have just a little haze. You know, I turned off the haze thing, and it's like there's no haze at all now. I wonder if I can create a little. Go to the weather. Break the immersion here for a second. Visibility. 67 miles. Well, that's not very realistic. Visibility 30 miles is probably more like it. Seems to have made no difference. Besides, I still want to have the real world weather when we get to Tampa. Alright, so we know that 1700 RPMs is too much. We know that rolling out of the throttle is the wrong thing. So maybe in the flare over the numbers you pull it back to 13 or something. We'll try that this time around. See what we get. Huh, no kidding. I didn't know that. Well, I could always... Well, if it's 60 miles visibility, it's 60 miles visibility, man. What can I say? It's a clear day. Okay, so now we have to worry about the needle of death. That's our next big thing to look out for. It's this guy right here, 1,800 feet, and generally on the path. We have somebody coming at us on the Victor Airway though, 1,600 feet above us. So let's not blow through our altitude. Let's get on our desired track, which is 282. Or 133, course 133. Our trim. It did not read us going to the next waypoint. There we go. Okay, 1,500 feet above us, coming on the same airway. Interesting. Alright, I wonder if this thing has the needle of death. It should. I couldn't see it when we flew this in the real world. Not as bumpy now, though. Well, yeah, still kind of bumpy. Alright, fuel pump on. Switch tanks. Positive fuel pressure. Pump off. Trim us a little bit in terms of the mixture. Lean us out. Coming right over the top of us, 1,800 feet. 2,000 feet above us. There he is, right there. Cool. All right, 2,500 feet. Bit more power. And now over to the bay and across to Albert Wooded, and we're done. Appreciate those of you who have stuck with me through this. It's been sloppy, but when I have the chat in here, it's always sloppy. I think it's good. It helps me figure out how to be a bit more task loaded. Also keep futzing with the airplane in terms of its strangely varying power settings. These lights just went on for no reason, didn't they? Or what just happened? No? I guess it's just new light coming through the window that way. That's fine. That looks fun. You gonna do that with the young man? Or just you? Okay, pretty soon up here you can actually see these stacks up here. That's a power plant. See, now all of a sudden it's descending. It's starting to drive me batty. Give it some up elevator and see if it holds here. Nope, trim it. We'll wait and see. You can see those stacks from a long way away. It's a big power plant. I think it's a nuke plant. We've got the, and they're a good visual you can just sort of fly by. I noticed when I was here last time. Other than that, it's a whole lot of nothing around here, except for the needle of death. Now our top power is down to 24. I'm not touching the controller. I'm just leaving it. And look, there it goes. Now it's going to creep up. Maybe not. We'll see. Oh, we've got an ADF over here. We could actually use that if we wanted to. And I guess that is, oh yeah, that's our avionics. We actually have an autopilot.
Caution.
Yep. Try the Oscar procedure. That sounds like something else, Jazz. Okay. Might as well listen to Tampa approach in the virtual world 119.65. And then I'm going to need to get Albert Wooded MEDAR, which is 118.875. It's a good thing to have the magenta line out here. There's not a lot of landmarks if you were flying this purely visual. Adjust my goggles. There, it's clear. Yeah, I do think the whole thing looks a little clearer than it was before. I will say that. Doesn't look blurry to me. Okay, we just want to keep an eye on the Bravo shelves coming up here. It starts at 6,000, then it goes down to 3. Needle of death coming up on our left. There's that lake. And then that lake in front of me, there, is where those stacks are. I don't know. You can do a Google search and there's a website called AXIP or APXP, something like that. AIXP, I think it is, Airport Information X-Plane. If you do a search of the ICAO code there, it will show you whatever airports or scenery exist for that it's been able to find. That's where I usually go if I want to see if something is in, you know, where it's supposed to be. Needle of death. I still don't see it. It's not lit. I could never see it last time. Okay, there's the big lake that has the towers. You can just start to see Tampa Bay behind that. It's 4:20 here in the real world. Got about 20 minutes left in the flight. Do this peeking under my eye. Okay. Going direct, turn back under our heading. Sorry, I was just looking at something on the iPad. Mike, that's funny. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's AXIP. It will tell you wherever they've got them. The nice thing is with the real airplane is that if you need to look at your electronic flight bag, you don't have goggles that are prohibiting you from seeing anything else that's going on. Unless, of course, you're training for IFR. So Chaz, it's sort of like the Kobayashi-Maru scenario. I understand. Okay, Ruskin is our next waypoint. We are coming up to the Bravo. First shelf is 6. We don't need to worry about it. Next shelf is 3. We need to worry about that because it comes pretty quickly. We're right abeam the needle of death now. I still never saw it. It's good as long as we're far away from it. And normally I would see the towers in the distance. The draw detail distance here, the level of detail distance, I think it got knocked down by, well, no, because I think I can see the, yeah, I can see the towers of Tampa right there. So I can see that, and pretty soon from here I'll be able to see the Tropicana, I'll be able to see Tropicana Field. But I can see Tampa right there. Okay, good. Oh yeah, Kobayashi-Maru scenario. The only way to beat that is to reprogram it. Okay, so we've got traffic coming up here. This also should include real-world traffic going in and out of Tampa. Oh, no kidding. I'll have to check it out. My route will take me right over those stacks. Yep. I can see the power plant now. It's right there. And that takes us to Ruskin. And then from Ruskin, we are down to 1,000 feet over the bay with our fingers crossed. It doesn't have Ruskin on my chart, which is one thing I have to remember, so my line here is not the same a magenta line I would be flying. So we are just going to fly to Ruskin and then we'll go direct to. Yeah. While we're at it. Yeah, there, it just switched over to the left tank for no reason. Stop it. Thank God it's not turning off. All right. Over the power plant. We're beam Sarasota, and it's Charlie over there. Our frame rates are looking good. I'm not running ASW because it gets a little ghosty when I get closer to Albert Whitted because it's pretty frame hog heavy. No mode C. Well, what's the point? Why would you have? Why would they ever put an air? Why would they put a transponder in here that doesn't have mode C? Curious. Okay. Next shelf for us. That's up there, 35,000 feet above us. We don't need to worry about them. They're 2,000. There's a bunch of traffic at Whitted doing its thing. Those are probably those that have landed with no place to taxi. So we'll figure them out. Next shelf is 3, fine. Okay. Okay, I can see Tampa. I can see St. Pete. Coming in over the power plant. Not seeing these towers. I wonder if my mesh is messed up. I downloaded the HD mesh. It looks like it's doing a pretty good job of putting trees down there where it's supposed to put them. In fact, it looks like it's doing a really good job of putting trees down there where it's supposed to put them. But I wonder if it's not as good. I turned off, which one? I turned one of the mesh off. Hard to know. Okay. Yep, ASOS is 118.8%. Thanks for telling me. That little bunch of water right there is Ruskin. So we got to be below 1,200 feet by the time we get to there. So let's go down. Let's get the weather.
Albert Whitted Information Tango.
And then we're going to go over to
2000 Zulu weather. Wind 060 at 7, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 23, dew point 1. Altimeter 3006. Arriving runway 36, departing runway 36. Advise on initial contact you have Tango.
Okay. Tango. Whitted, they don't actually call Tango, they just have dated. We're flying on 36.
Albert Whitted Information Tango. 2000 Zulu weather. Wind 060 at 7, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 23, dew point 1. Altimeter 3006. Arriving runway 36, departing runway 36. Advise on initial contact you have Tango.
Okay, switch over to tower. Yeah, HD Mesh version 4. But like I didn't see, well, but see, there's the power lines when it's supposed to be. How far out do they stop running? About there, not very far. So I just think I've got my draw distance screwed up. It's drawing the buildings way out there, but like I didn't see the towers where I should see towers. I didn't see some of that stuff, so who knows. There's a train, though. We've got trains. Okay, we're coming up to Ruskin. We're now underneath the 3000 shelf, coming up to the 1200 shelf, which is right there. We can always make an S-turn if we think we won't make it down, but I think we'll get down okay. We can always just fly a little bit of a forward slip. There we go. Okay. We've got a bogey coming over the top at 4,500 feet. Looking. Not seeing. They're going to have us make 3-6. They're going to have us make a right base into 3-6 is what they will have us do. Coming right over the top, there it is. That is a jet going out of somewhere, going out of Tampa. Look at that, that is cool. Gotta love how Reality XP is working there. Or, oh, it's real world traffic. It's got great modeling too. We should be able to see the livery if we can get a good look at it. I can't quite tell. Right on. That's cool. All right. Okay, we've got another plane coming in 3,500 feet above us. About the same place. Now we'd call him, we'd say, what a tower, I can see the Tropicana Field. The tower, Archer 82746 is Ruskin, inbound full stop, we have the weather. They would say make left base 36. Left base 36. So I can see that guy. Where's the other guy? Oh yeah, there's another traffic. There's another jet right there. Those are aircraft coming in on the approach into Tampa International. That's the final. So he's on final, and he's on final. There's Whitted Tower right in front of us. We'll go across at 1,000 feet. We'll watch out for those big commercial airliners. And we'll get ready to land. Okay. 1,000 feet over the bay. How's our wind? 8. Let's get that wind one more time.
Albert Whitted Information Tango. 2000 Zulu weather. Wind 060 at 7, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 23, dew point 1.
060.
Altimeter 3006. Arriving runway 36, departing runway 36. Advise on initial contact you have Tango.
Okay, so we got a crosswind. Not quite direct, but close to it. Put it ground. Is 121.8. I'm supposed to have that remembered. Until I've been doing this for 2.5 hours. I'm tired. Okay. 1,000 feet over the bay. We're holding our water. I don't know. I think my airplane symbol stands out pretty good. I think I can change it. This is where we hold our breath that nothing bad happens. If it does, we aim for the nearest boat. And let's not say air crash, if we can avoid it. Right, Jazz? Although so far, that's what we've been having here. All right, let's get configured here. Fuel pump on, landing light on, mixture full in. Carb heat is off. Start taking it down to 800 feet. And maybe the third time is a charm with the power settings on this baby. Tampa skyline in the distance, St. Pete skyline in front. Skyway Bridge isn't there. I thought I had a setting for that, scenery for that. Okay, first notch. There will probably be aircraft sitting on the runway because they didn't taxi out, but I won't let that bother us. All right, start getting slowed. Slow the airplane to 80 knots. A little high. It's okay, we'll come down from that in a second. Next notch. And we're going to start flying that crosswind. And we will have the amazing experience of the disappearing throttle. Trim, trim, trim. On flaps. Tamp in the distance. crosswind. A little slow. Work that crosswind. There we go, that's better. Keep that wing down. All right, now we'll see what happens to the power. We transition from a slide slip to a forward slip. Get her down. Kick her over. Again, those are ghost planes from the traffic. All right, crosswind landing, I'll take that. You can see the windsock there. Exit here on Charlie. And we're back where we started 2.5 hours ago. With a tower, Turkey 82746, clear of 36 at Charlie going to St. Peter. And say, go to St. Peter, stay on this frequency. We'd say, okay. Fuel pump, clean up. Fuel pump off, landing lights off. Flaps are already up. I put them up when we were braking. Okay. My pleasure. RPM, I didn't look. No crash that time. Yeah, so it's just not putting these planes to bed. I'm not quite sure why, or maybe it's spawning them when they don't have ground routes, but these are from, these are definitely from world traffic. I'll have to do some research and find out why it's leaving them on the runways. It was cool to see those airliners go over the top though, going into Tampa. And yeah, I'm not quite sure what the power setting was. My sense is I was right around 1500. I kept it there until I was really down on the ground, and then I just pulled it out at the last second. I was more concerned about keeping the right wing down and then making the forward slip at the last second. They've done a nice job of rendering the Dolly Museum. I haven't. There's a widget that somebody has, and I've modified it to make it a little less frame hog heavy. It's got blimps flying around and a billion trees and a bunch of stuff that just, especially with ortho scenery, I don't need, so I've taken them out. That looks good though. And this is a little more frame reasonable. Thanks, Chaz. It was fun. I don't think I'll get to do the real one tomorrow. I'm sorry to say. It's just not going to happen, I don't think. Yeah, so that's a plane that's landed that I guess didn't have a place to go. But that one over there is getting ready to go someplace. That restaurant right there is a great little place to eat, by the way, at Albert Wooded. So yeah, I mean, having these guys sit around the airport after a while doesn't make much sense. I think there's a setting in world traffic where you can make them go away if they don't have that, but hey Kenneth, thanks. My pleasure. So there you go. That was a flight from here in St. Pete down to really Fort Myers to Page Airport, then over the top of Page, or out of Page, where we had to do a go around, and then came back because there was someone on the runway, came back, and then we went to Arcadia Airport, which was hard for me to find, just like in the real world, but I found it. And the parking space for this airplane in the real world is in this little notch here. And you have to be careful not to whack that Cessna that sits there, and not to whack whatever they've got sitting there. And you gotta go like this, and then you push it back. And then we went to Arcadia, and then we went back up. See there, it just switched the tanks again. I don't know why. There we go. Yep. Arcadia back up to St. Pete, so about 2.5 hours in the route, and it was fun. So that will be the next real world flight. We'll see if we are able to pull it off here in the next couple of weeks. This entire runway here in the real world is closed right now for a Grand Prix race that is happening in St. Petersburg. So as a result, it's hot here today. Come on. I don't know why it doesn't want to open. Oh, there we go. Because you have to push the door handle for it to open. How's that for realistic? So this runway is closed, so it only leaves north-south, and we're going to have a crosswind tomorrow just like that, and it's probably going to be gusting over my maximum crosswind component, which is 7 knots right now in the real world, so I'll probably be waiting around. But it was fun to do it today virtually, if nothing else. I had a chance to see the performance of the sim in VR with lots of things running. We had world traffic running, we had the chat running, we had the iPad brought in, and in that flight I only used half the juice. That's good to know. And we had no clouds, but we went with real world weather, and that's what we were able to dig up. So it is what it is. And other than that, that's the deal. Here we can take a look at the airplane. We better check the struts after that. After we found out that we couldn't land without the power setting where it needed to be. And we can go over here and check out the restaurant. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've had lunch right there. The guy who naps really did a nice job on this. I mean, lots of great little details, and like these flowers and stuff are cool. But it does take quite a bit of frames, and so I've been leaning it up a little bit. And I don't know if this guy's... I guess he's just hanging out. They all landed and just stopped here. Okay, whatever. We'll go back to our little airplane. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for watching on the glide slope, and we'll see you on the next flight. I'm glad the VR ran great. Thanks for the feedback on that. And we'll see what happens with the next flight. I don't know if it'll be... that's the latch. Interesting. I don't know if it'll be virtual or not, but one way or the other, I'll be on the virtual airways again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Oh, if you have questions about the sim, if you're joining later, you followed all the way through to the end. The actual physical cockpit that I'm sitting in, which I use when I'm not using VR, is really the focus of the site. You can learn a lot about it at www.ontheglideslope.net. Thanks for watching.